All right, you guys. So let's look at our second property. So my last video, we talked about product property. Okay. Now we're going to talk about our next property, which is called power to a power. Now, I'll be completely honest. It's okay if you don't remember what the names of the properties are. It's more important that you remember what to do to the exponents. Okay. So if you look here, I've got the rule. Okay. And this is just the generic rule. Okay. So I have a base of x to the a. I've got parentheses and I have an additional exponent of b. So x to the a raised to the b power. All right, and that equals x to the AB. All right, so I have multiplied my exponents, which I am perfectly allowed to do. Okay, so if you're looking at the problem on the right in Delta Math, we'll get to that one in a minute. Okay, let's just talk about why this is happening and why this is okay. All right, so I have x squared to the third power. All right, so my rule says that I can multiply those exponents. So x to the 2 times 3. Well, I know what 2 times 3 equals. So x to the 6th. Okay? All right. So why did that happen? Okay? Why does that rule work? Okay? If I take x squared to the third, what that is saying using exponent rules is x squared times x squared times x squared. I took x squared and I wrote it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Okay? Now, you just learned that you're allowed to add your exponents. So if I looked at this problem, just stopped here and said, hey, I just learned how to do that. Ms. Barfield says I can add my exponents. Well, those are all x's, so I can add all those up. Well, 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 2 is 6. So I'm back to that 6. But again, here's why it works. It goes all the way back to the very first thing I showed you, which is x squared is x times x. X squared is also x times x. X squared is also x times x. Well, if I go back to the very first time I learned about exponents, about how to expand them or how to condense them, well, I just took this and I counted it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. X to the 6th. So I'm all the way back to where I started from. Okay. So I've got all this optional work. And that's the great thing about having these rules. Okay. Is back when I was in school, I didn't have to do this. But if my teacher said, you need to show your work. Okay. We were sometimes asked to show our work as extensively as this because it was also proving. We had to do some proving about, well, why does it work? Okay. So you guys are kind of lucky there in how some of the standards have changed. Okay. So 2 plus 2 plus 2, or 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, x to the 6th. Okay. All right. Now, how this is going to get interesting is if I introduce a negative number. Okay. And that's where you're going to have to be very careful with your calculator. Okay. All right. So let's look here at the problem we've got here on the right hand side of our screen. All right. So I'm going to recopy that. Parentheses. Negative 4 x squared y to the 4th. Oh, and I actually wrote that wrong. Let me get my correction. All right. That parentheses should have been here. Okay. All right. So negative 4x squared y inside the parentheses raised to the 4th power. Okay. All right. So I could do that the long way. Okay. Or I can jump right in and I can multiply my exponents. Okay. So let me split this problem apart, okay? And then after that, you can go about how you want to do this, whichever way is easiest for you. Okay, so I have 3 things I'm multiplying together in here. So let me write that down. Negative 4 times x squared times y to the 4th. Okay, so we just don't write the multiplication symbols. Okay, so you can see now that I have 3 pieces. Okay, all right, now what this 4 means, okay, is that if I were to write this down like in this line here that's pink, okay, I would have to write out negative 4 4 times. I'd have to write x to the squared 4 times. I have to write down y 4 times, but I don't want to do that. Okay, so I'm going to now take this 4, okay, and if you remember the distributive property, okay, so it's kind of looking like the distributive property. All right, we've got some exponents here that are hiding. There's a 1 right here. There's a 1 right here. Okay, so I have -4. I'll keep that in parentheses and I'll tell you why in a minute. To the 1 times 4 times x squared to the 4th power, or 2 times 4 times y to the 1 to the 4. Okay? All right, so now, okay, if I wanted to clean that up again, so 1 times 4, so -4 to the 4th. 2 times 4 is 8, x to the 8th, and 1 times 4 is 4. Okay? All right, let's talk about what's going on with this bad boy right here. Okay? -4 to the 4th power. All right, let's bring up Desmos. Okay? All right, now this is where everyone doesn't like to believe their teacher. They're like, she don't know what she's talking about. -4 to the 4th. All right, and -4, oops, to the 4th. All right, so here's the great debate. Which one is correct? Okay, which one is correct? All right, is it -256? Is it 256? Okay, it is positive 256 x to the 8th, y to the 4th. Okay, this is why. Okay, if I look right here, okay, I kept those parentheses, okay, because -4 started in parentheses. Okay, that tells me, okay, and I'm going to write it down so you can see it, that I should write -4 4 times. And look how I'm writing it. -4 4 times. Okay? When you have a negative times a negative, that's a positive. When you have a negative times a negative, that's a positive. So this whole problem is positive 256. Okay? If there had not been any parentheses, I would have taken my first approach here on Desmos. Okay, and I would have typed -4 to the 4. But because I have parentheses, I have to type it in and get the correct answer. Okay, all right, so that is our power to a power property. Okay, come back and watch the second video, and I'm going to do more examples. Okay, and we're just going to work on them right from Delta Math.